Oh, hi there. You want to know what we're going to talk about today? Oh, that's easy. It's, flags. Flags on a... They're on a ship. You get it? You get it? Flagship. We're gonna talk about the flagships in... I know! It's... Hello, my fellow hunters! Welcome to more digging in the desert of dreams and unearthing treasures of mystery across the plains of wilds. Also known as talking about cool stuff that we don't know everything about yet, in the hopes that we can figure it out, and then we can go, haha, I got it right, oh whoa, I was so wrong, but that's still awesome. And today's topic, the flagship monster, which is obviously a big deal. In fact, it's become more and more of a big deal as Monster Hunter has progressed, right? Like, back in day when we just got Monster Hunter Freedom and Tigrex was the flagship, it's like, cool, that's a fun monster. He's running around, he's roaring. He's not really changed much since, but we still love him. And he's there, I can hunt him, fun. Whereas we fast forward to like, oh, Sunbreak. The flagship is actually secretly a variant this entire time, and his actual normal form is this guardian white knight of an entire kingdom that is destined to hunt down the demons of the abyss and stop the spread of the curio and come to our aid. And oh my god, like, you see what I mean? The weaving of flagship and story has just skyrocketed. Even Gigante in World and Iceborne, with his position in the food chain, Oath with Zora and then Ruiner with Shara, he's a very much a key, a linchpin to how everything flows in that part of the new world. And I love that I can say that part of the new world now, as we work with the assumption that Wilds takes place in a different part of the new world, but we shall see. In any case then, this means that, hey, the flagship of Wilds presumably is going to continue the trend and be a big deal. Likely also connected to the final boss, which is also something that's been happening. Again, Nergi with the Everstream and the Energy, and then Shara. Velkhana was the Iceborne flagship, also with Shara, the song. Magnamalo connected to the Rampage, which was then connected to the final bosses of Vibushi, Nawa, and All-Mother. Malzeno, of course, connected to Geismagon in a big way. It tends to be, well, how it be. So, with that in mind then, we know that the Wilds flagship should have a big role in the story, feel present, and ultimately pay off in regards to the final boss. So, it is definitely both exciting, mysterious, and curious that the flagship was weirdly missing from the Wilds reveal trailer. Its absence tells us almost more than its inclusion, or at least perhaps betrays its import, because we're just not quite ready for such raw awesomeness yet. That, or the flagship is Chameleos, and he's been here the entire time.
Hello!
In any case, what if, and I may posit the question here then, the flagship wasn't missing from the reveal? And on that front, I have two candidates. The first being our new mount, our new likely bird wyvern, though maybe an entirely new type. The both bipedal and quadrupedal locomotion options are certainly interesting and not something we've seen before from a feathered monster. But in any case, maybe this thing is rare enough, important enough, powerful enough, perhaps intelligent enough to be a flagship. And I don't hate the idea, the twist, the nice little flip on its head, that the flagship this time around is not a monster that we fight, but we work with, we fight alongside. Kind of like how it ended with Primordial Malzeno, but in a much more direct mechanical sense right from the beginning, and our goal is to do /stop/find whatever the ultimate endgame is going to be once the, what I imagine will be initial meandering, focuses into an actual story with a final monster to hunt. And that, I think, is quite fun. If we really are going to go all in on a companion, depending on how much we can customize or upgrade him, or how many forms of movement he actually ends up being able to provide us, making that the big deal, and therefore the big deal monster, would certainly be a twist, but not one I would find unpalatable. But that said, I feel like I could see a world in which people were disappointed that we don't have a actual proper flagship to, you know, hunt and wear its armor and get behind, and hunting and wearing the armor of our mount creature seems like is a little bit mean. So yeah, getting another cool Gormagala or Brachydios or a Magnum Malo introduced is certainly, I imagine, the preference for some. So on that regard then, let's look at option number 2 for, yeah, no, technically they were here. And that is the logo itself, Serpent 6. Now, yes, as I've said a few times, the Monster Hunter logos do tend to be representations of the generation. 6 heads for Gen 6, 5 heads in World for Gen 5, and so on and so forth. But, talking of the generations, by the way, I really do want to highlight and stress how weird it is for Flagship to not be in the reveal trailer. In Gen 1, Rathalos was there. In Gen 2, Tigrex was there. In Gen 3, Lagiacrus was there. In Gen 4, we've had Seregios. In Rise, we got Magnamalo. In Sunbreak, we got Malzeno. In fact, notably, the main example of not getting the Flagship in the initial reveal is Base World, where the focus was very much on the environment and then Anjanath. There was no Nergigante in sight. Then, in Iceborne 2, that reveal didn't give us Velkhana, so it does seem a very new world theme. So it is almost kind of nice in that sense that it's being continued, and I think another point in favor of, yeah, Wilds taking place somewhere in the new worlds, continuing that thread. But yes, our logo then. There's 2 big serpents, which I believe to be significant elder dragons, or the final bosses, or some sort of connection to that side of things. There's plenty of mythology to draw, to explain them, how the top one is likely the bringer of weather, of rain, and the bottom one is the more like sandstormy aspect, more earthbound, and if you want to really dive into that, the video of it is up on the channel, and maybe I'll even remember to link it down below, but don't get your hopes up. Why am I so bad at this? But the others are perhaps more interesting in the Flagship discourse, because there is 4 small even serpents around them. Now, you could interpret this as connected to the big 2, perhaps children or similar species, but somehow lesser. But I like the idea that if we're going to get, as it seems to be, a open world Monster Hunter where the map is one giant guiding lands, then it would perhaps be strange to have a Flagship singular. Because where would it go? If it's one map, is it going to be the dominant or one of the apexes of the entire map? Will it be an invader that can go in all of the biomes? Will it be a supremely adaptable creature that can go in all of them? Perhaps not. So when we look at that, what if we get ourselves a second go at a Fated 4 type situation, where we have not 1, not 2, not 3, but yes, shockingly, 4 Flagships kind of equally sharing the spotlight. Perhaps one main one, like Glavenus took the role of, but Mizutsune, Astalos, and Gammoth, and please let Gammoth actually finally come back. Come on, she deserves it, even if it's like a deserty version and more sand than snow. In any case, they were all very much Flagships too. It is a quad flagship, and instead of being tied to each village and the immediate environment around it, they can each have a portion of the map. Very similar to Sunbreak, with Garangome, Lunagaron, and Malzeno each taking a little bit of the Citadel, where they are the lords over it. You could imagine if those 3 were all equally flagships, and the lord grouping was very much pushed. I think Lunagaron and Garangome are certainly, like, you know, they're not flagships, but they're just below, like a tier below, with how much they're grouped in with Malzeno and everything and tied to the map. We could have that kind of situation, where you have a big bad of each section of the map, 4 main biomes, and then we have them sort of intertwined into the serpent logo, and each of them staking claim to Flagship, and they all are involved in the story in some way, and ideally equally. I think that is a very, very fun concept, and one I kind of hope they explore, because if you're going to have the biggest Monster Hunter game ever, perhaps you end up in a situation where no one Flagship can quite fill those boots. So while I think that it's unlikely they're all going to be like serpent snaky themed, the logos do tend to be extract and just represent stuff at absolute most, I think the way that it's laid out might imply 2 big deal new Elder Dragons and 4 big deal new normal monsters, but whether they are a quartet of flagships or just a quartet of new, interesting and powerful creatures that can each act as apexes in their own right, of course we've got no idea. Whether it's even 4 or the usual 1, again, no idea. But the very fact that we have had nothing flagship-wise, not even a definitively properly new large monster, obviously the rampaging bear group I think are large monsters, but no singular focus on, look, cool new creature, just environments. So maybe that will actually translate to the Flagship being a lot more connected to the land and ecology, and Ryozo did say that is the focus here. They want the nature, the ecology, the environment, the connectedness, the animal of it all to really be at the forefront here, and the Flagship presumably has to kind of personify that, has to carry the game. The Flagship tends to be the theme of what we're doing, at least in modern Monster Hunter. Nergigante with the ecosystem, Malzeno with the imbalance of the curios. So whatever Flagship we get, I really do hope that it is one that not only feels at home in every given environment on the map or maps that we get, but it's one that feels like it complements them, that works with them, and because of that has a lot of variety to go alongside it. But that's just my initial thoughts on the subject. A lot of people have asked me who or what I think the Flagship might be, so there you go. Let me know what you two indeed think, but for now, like you've enjoyed this, subscribe and hit the bell for more. Consider supporting the future of the channel on Patreon down below, and until we meet again, a goodbye.
Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice, to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world a stage. Goodbye.